Okay. My name is Marilyn Little. I am 37, soon to be 38 years old. I'm a bit of an interesting athlete because I do both show jumping and three-day eventing. I have been riding professionally as for the U.S. show jumping team now since 1999. I'm competing in the Grand Prix since I was 16, and I started eventing in 2011. 2010. I watched the World Championships on television for eventing, and I thought I could do that. How hard could it be? So the next week I went out and started eventing, and now I do both. I maintain horses at the top of both sports, or try to. Um, most times it's successful, but that is the nature of horses. And I've gotten to go all over the world. Have had obviously most of my years in show jumping, but probably more international exposure in eventing. I have been fortunate to go to the Pan Am Games, won the team an individual gold medal on a horse named RF Scandalous, who is still competing now. She is hopefully on the Tokyo track, aiming towards Tokyo in the Olympics of next year. She just missed out. She was named to the World Championship team last year for a try-on, but she had an injury the night before we were to ship to the venue. So that was pretty devastating, but that is how it goes. It's always a roller coaster ride with horses, but it's been a great experience. It's tough maintaining horses in two stables. The scheduling is difficult. The logistics are difficult. The horses are really the easy part. People always say, what's it like doing two sports? And I really try to keep it all about the horses, and then it's one game, and then we just have different rules for different horses. But the health and the maintenance and the nutrition is really, it's essentially the same, because all horses, we're all dealing with the same problems. We're dealing with the fitness, we're dealing with their mental ability, we're dealing with their experience, and we're always fighting the clock, because by the time we get them to the highest level, their bodies start to deteriorate, or we have taxed them to the point where they are really struggling to maintain their peak performances. So when I was introduced to Dorian a little bit by chance, I thought, this could be something that I really would be interested in trying. And I have to say, I'm a bit of a skeptic, because we're as athletes competing at the top, we're always looking for that extra edge, the icing on the cake, something that's going to give us just a couple more inches. And sometimes we're using so many products, we don't really know what is or isn't working. So when someone says, hey, well, what do you think of this product? You could say, oh, I think it's great because you won, but at the same time, your horse is still on 15 other things. So when I was introduced to Summit, I started utilizing it. I incorporated it into my program, and my horses were going well. And so you tend to, stick with what's working. But as luck would have it, when I was talking to him, he started talking about the Canine Summit, and I said, is there any chance that I could work on a cat? Because I do like horses. I mean, I love horses, but horses, don't make your profession, your passion, your profession. But I do love cats. And I have an incredible cat that was diagnosed with IBD. Essentially, he had cancer in his intestines. And his quality of life was deteriorating. And so although I had the horses on 7, I thought I was going great. I thought, you know what, this is a really good test, because I know this cat really well, and I know exactly what he's struggling with, and I get to see him all the time, far more hours in a day than I get to spend with each individual horse. So it was really a great test subject for me. And I followed the instructions. I started the cat on the Summit, and Dorian said it would take a couple days to get into his system. But really, every time I gave it to him, I said, you know what, the thing is the cat is zooming around. I mean, I know it's supposed to help his inflammatory response, and it's supposed to make him feel better. But the cat I had to give it in the morning, because if I gave it in the afternoon or the evening, the cat would keep me up all night. He was walking all over me. And so I said, are you sure it's a couple days? Because I feel like it's a couple hours. And he said, well, actually, from an osteoarthritic standpoint, he does. He's going to feel far more mobile. Sure enough, after a few days, his appetite got better. Not to be graphic, but his stools got better. If you have bowel cancer, that's pretty rough. He was just happier. He's eating. He was keeping things down. So I was somewhat sold. So we had the instant benefit, and then a couple of days later. But then the next thing was that every vet that I had taken this cat to said he's got 6 months maximum. He's really going to have probably a couple weeks of good quality of life, and then you're gonna have to make some hard decisions. Don't you know, a year and a half later, the cat was still alive, still running all over the place, still waking me up at night after he had his summit. And I did start giving it to him more frequently, honestly, as he just started to deteriorate a little bit. Every time I thought his cancer had progressed a little more, I kind of upped his frequency of doses of Summit just because it made such a difference for him. So yes, I am a big user of Equine Summit, and it is a big part of my program because I really believe in it. However, what sold me on it was my cat. And as when we're all trying to look for those extra inches and we're trying to utilize different things that are out there on the market, that's great. But when you have something that really just hits the bullseye, you become a believer. So that's my Summit story.